I really wanted to try home brewing, so I kind of nudged Bill and said we should do this. And again, he was like, "Well, I already cook for a living, don't want to do it, but I want to name some beers." Okay, sold. We probably started talking about going pro about 4 or 5 batches in.
Welcome to Badger Beer Report. I'm calling it the Beer Spotlight or Brewery Spotlight, or we'll call it something different down the road. Who knows, y'all? But I am here with my friends from Manitowish Waters, owners and founders of Some Nerve Brewing. Y'all, they are 20 minutes north, right? North, y'all?
Yep.
Of
Yes.
Minocqua, which is off the beaten trail in Wisconsin. So I'm excited to talk to them about being a brewery off the beaten trail, being a small brewery, and the perils and fun that comes with that. It seems like when I talk to them, I feel like a seasonal brewery type vibe going on. And we'll also talk about their origin, which is not a traditional origin, which is partly traditional brewery origin and partly not, and we'll get into that. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce and welcome my friends Bill and Jessica Roof.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Nerve Brewing, yeah, and Manitowish Waters. Thank you for getting me down with the the pronunciation of that, because I've never been. So y'all's origin story is fun and interesting. There's a traditional route that y'all took, being homebrewers. And we know many of our homebrewers are now professional brewers. That's where many of y'all got y'all's inspiration. But y'all are also known for something else that has nothing to do with beer. Right? Or does meat have to do with beer?
Oh, the meat market.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
They provided a brewery for us.
Yeah. And there's some parallels. There's a lot of parallels between the two businesses.
Yeah, where'd y'all from? Y'all are actually from considered a hotbed of Wisconsin craft beer. I'll let y'all go from there.
Okay. Yeah, so I was born and raised in New Glarus. I was actually there before the brewery, mind you. But and everybody that comes in our place, when we tell them that, they say, "Did you work there?" And no, we just tell them we did our best to keep them in business, but we didn't actually ever work there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you drank there, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
Yes,
we drank plenty of their beer, and we love them. We love their place. We love the people there. It's just an awesome brewery, and so proud to have that as part of our state. It was great stuff there.
Can we call them an inspiration?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Positively. And in many ways, not just beer wise, but in how they run their business, and and what great people they are. And they take good care of their employees, and they take great care of the town. I mean, so as you were alluding to, I used to own a sausage shop in New Glarus, and we did as soon as New Glarus Brewing started getting hot, the whole town started getting hot, and I just did great gangbuster business from all the tourists that came to New Glarus just to see the brewery. So I owe them a huge debt that way too. And I like to tell people New Glarus Brewing pretty much paid for our brewery, because people would come to town and visit the brewery. They'd come down to my shop and buy a bunch of brats from me, and that gave us the funding to move up here into the Northwoods and open up our brewery. That and selling in the shop.
Right. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go Jessica.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's parallels between what he did with the meat market and then and brewing beer. I mean, it's very much a cooking process. And I actually had a little bit of difficulty convincing him he wanted to homebrew, because he would say, "I already cook for a living. I don't want to do it on my days off."
Yeah.
But then he agreed to help homebrew if he could name some beer. So there we go.
It's still the funnest part.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times we have a beer name before we have a beer to go with it.
Yeah.
But
That and the research and development is the other fun part.
Right.
In other words, going
And,
around drinking people's beer.
and real quick, Bill, you got into the sausage business how?
It's a family business. My dad started working there in 1960. He took it over in 66. I started working there in high school, and as soon as I graduated, I went full time there. Not so much by choice, but because I had nothing else to do. They didn't have there's no college degree programs on how to be a rock star, so I didn't want to go to college. So I just started working at the sausage shop, and then after how long? 18 years, I took it over, and I ran it for 18 years.
And that's the traditional part of the non-traditional part, if that makes sense. Meaning, you know what I mean? Like, the old family business, being handed down to you. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
kind of old Americana story. I'm sorry, I gotta say it.
Yeah, very much. Yep.
I'm not
Yeah.
sorry, actually. That's what it
Right.
is. So then that leads to how I met y'all, which is home brewing, your home brewing era of y'all, and traveling. And so when did this idea about going commercial come with y'all within the
Oh.
context of this whole I feel it's because I may remember this, but I want the story to be out where it combines with the traveling of Wisconsin brews because y'all have been to
Mhm.
many of them. We'll get to that maybe right now if y'all want to talk about that. But it seemed like that with the home brewing, and there was a soup of inspiration there.
Yeah, so we actually did start out as brewery tourists. Full disclosure, I didn't used to like beer.
Yeah.
But then we if we can give a shout out, Bill picked up a book called Wisconsin's Best Beer Guide by Kevin Revelinsky. And that was our travel
Madison
guide.
Treasure.
That was our travel guide for all these breweries. And we started going around and learning about, wow, this is beer that's got flavor. It's got all these different colors and aromas, and it looks different than what you get in a Miller bottle. So we started liking craft beer, and we started going on tours in all these little breweries where they explain the brewing process. And I thought it was pretty cool. And like I really wanted to try home brewing, so I kind of nudged Bill and said we should do this. And again, he was like, "Well, I already cook for a living, don't want to do it, but I want to name some beers." Okay, so we probably started talking about going pro about 4 or 5 batches in.
I think I think
Maybe.
didn't you find a text message or an email that I sent you the day after our first home brew, and I said, okay, we're gonna be a brewery, but
Yeah.
jokingly, of course, but yeah, because originally we had been wanting to move up north for quite some time, and the original plan was to come up here and buy or open a bar. And thank God we didn't, because I would have put a bullet in my head by now if we had. Because
We're not night people.
yeah, the whole staying up late, dealing with obnoxious drunk people, which you get some in the brewery, but not as much. And just the whole bar scene is. I like going to bars, but I sure as hell wouldn't want to run one. And so then when we started home brewing, that dream automatically just converted to opening a brewery up north instead of a bar. And here we are.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because there's a level of people who don't understand the difference of the environment between a brewery and a bar, and
Oh
it's
God, yeah.
absolutely different. I mean, there's beer at both of them, and on some level, that's where it ends.
Yep.
And the whole dogs and breweries and kids and breweries thing. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but maybe next time we should just have a full freeing conversation about everything not similar, about the environment of all these different places. But so back to Some Nerve, y'all, or we're still here. So yeah, y'all started at what was the drive? So why not start your inspiration right under, or why not start your your commercial thriving under, in a place that's really uh, uh welcoming and knowledgeable to you, and right under your inspiration, New Glarus. Why? What was the attraction up north for you?
Well, there's a few things going on there. First of all, like I said, I had started coming up here to the Northwoods vacationing in the mid '90s and came up a lot and just kind of fell in love with the area. So we really wanted to move up here, and that and the cost of it all. And we did consider, like we could have opened up in New Glarus, and actually Deb, Carrie had kind of kind of was supporting the idea, encouraging us on it. But it's we wanted this is kind of our retirement career, so we wanted it to be as low stress as possible, and a big part of that means we didn't want to have employees. So if we open a brewery in New Glarus, we would need to be open a lot more. We'd need to have employees, and there'd be a lot more of that going on. But we did consider it, and I'm sure we'd probably be doing gangbusters if we were in New Glarus, because we probably would have called it the Other Brewing Company, and have a sign, and all of our swag would say the second biggest brewery in New Glarus or something like that, and we could have had a lot of fun with that. But we really had our heart set on moving up north, though.
There's definitely an opportunity there for somebody. I don't know if there's any. Are there any other breweries in New Glarus?
No,
There's
the
a
closest.
winery.
Yeah, and I guess the winery just started distilling too.
There's a huge opportunity there, because again, all the people who come from New Glarus would immediately just go. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then if you got good word of mouth, if you did good beer, you would get word of mouth. You'd be like, oh, you got to go to the other one too. And like, you know how we roll. You got this is how we roll. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably the closest brewery to New Glarus, other than New Glarus Brewing, is one down in Monroe. He's kind of got, I think, the same thing going on. He's a little tiny place called Bulquarian in Monroe, Wisconsin, and he's in the shadow of Minhas, except he makes much better beer. But
I tell people Sugar River Pizza. So
yeah,
my son used to work there, so yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, I was like, you can get a good pie, you can get good things on tap,
Great
and
beer
get out of Dodge,
selection,
right? Because you're not going to get any food up at the New Glarus place currently. We'll see what happens after all that. But so y'all were attracted to Manitowish, and so how do we end up specifically there? Is it did were y'all filling the gap as far as location, or was it just a great buy, or was a place familiar to you, or what was going on with that? Specifically, because northern Wisconsin is wide and broad, y'all.
Yeah.
So we actually live in Boulder Junction, and that was where we'd come up on vacation. So that was kind of, we were looking for buildings or sites in Boulder for the brewery. The building we actually wound up in Manitowish Waters. I mean, the location's great. The price was right. It was, I mean, and it's right off of Highway 51. So it's very, very visible, and it's a good location. It's real close to town, real close to Little Bohemia.
Yeah, we looked around, and we would have been okay with pretty much anywhere within maybe a 50-mile radius of where we are. We looked at Boulder Junction. We looked at a place in Sainer, which is just a little bit southeast of here, going towards Eagle River. We even looked at a place in Tomahawk, which is actually a good 45 minutes south of here. But like Jessica said, the building we're in, unfortunately, we got into this before COVID, before everything went through the roof for real estate. And the building we're in had been on the market a long time. It was dirt cheap, and it's right on the highway. And also, Manitowish Waters is actually a great town to be in, because it's one of the most popular towns in the area. It gets a lot of tourism.
Very touristy.
Yeah, it's a very tourist-driven economy up here, which was nice, because coming from New Glarus and having owned the sausage shop, there's so many parallels there. It's the seasonal aspect of it all, and the tourist-driven economy. It's kind of the exact same thing here. And I learned to ride the waves of the seasonal waves and the ebb and the flow of the business, and excuse me, in New Glarus. So we run our asses off in the summertime when all the tourists are around. In the wintertime, we can kind of chill a little bit more, take a little more time off, and relax a little bit, because otherwise we probably would, if the whole year was like our summer, we probably wouldn't still be doing it.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Yeah. So y'all are a 2-man team?
What's that?
Y'all are a 2-man team?
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Group.
And y'all been a 2-man team?
Yeah.
All along. Yeah, that was always the plan.
Yeah, and how old is Some Nerve?
7 years old on June 22nd this year.
Yeah, we're closing.
And y'all run what barrel system?
3-barrel.
Wow. Are y'all what are the small? So one of the things about y'all is y'all have been to how many Wisconsin breweries?
All together, we gotta be close to 360, 370, including ones that are no longer, that are defunct now. I bet we're probably around 360, 370.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 260 or 270.
So y'all have extensive knowledge of the brewing scene. That I'm sure has helped y'all thrive a little bit. But so with that being said, where I was going to with this is there are not many breweries that are smaller than y'all, right? In existence.
Not many.
One of the
And
smallest ones. One of the smallest ones we met at,
yeah,
and now
Park
it's no
Hill,
longer
that's where we first met.
right.
Yeah.
So who's
Shaper.
smaller than y'all? Do y'all know?
Um, well, I know there's a few places that have a smaller system, like what's the
Like
one in
like a one
Burlington?
barrel system, 1 or 2 barrel system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, one or two. There's a few 1 and 2 barrel systems out there. The one in Burlington, is it the Runaway? I think it's the
That's the
Runaway in
Runaway.
Burlington.
Oh, Runaways that
Yeah,
small. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but they might have a higher annual volume because they're just brewing more often. But I think they're running
Yeah,
like a one system.
yeah, Burlington's
Uh,
bigger than Manitowish. I'm
yeah,
sure because
there's
they got more people who quote live there more. Does that make
exactly,
sense?
yeah. Our place is actually on the highway, kind of out in the country, where there's no walk-in traffic where our place is. But yeah, if you're downtown Burlington, obviously you're going to have a lot more walking than we get.
So,
What else I
we
think
don't.
they said. I'm sorry.
Or I'm sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think somebody told me that Urban Harvest in Milwaukee has like a 1 or 2 barrel system. Incidentally, that's one of our top 5 favorite breweries in the state. We love Urban Harvest.
Such a small system, and you have such a small employee base. Let's talk about how does that affect? And then y'all almost describing yourselves as a seasonal brewery that's open all year round, but
Pretty much.
there's an intensity there in the summer. How does that affect y'all's brewing? Not only first of all schedule, but also
Mhm.
philosophy as far as you know maybe try to get into y'all's philosophy of brewing. What makes y'all's beers unique as far as being up in north, and talk about how those seasonal northern, because I know y'all probably have regulars too. What are they drinking? Are they the hazy people? Are they the? I don't see them as the hazy New England people. I don't see them as the slushy people. But y'all gonna tell me right now. So, um,
So,
big loaded question.
so we have in summer we have 12 on tap. 4 of them are flagships, so all year round we have our oatmeal stout, an Irish red, cream ale, and like a West Coast IPA. Every other spot we say is up for grabs.
Although we do a hazy, kind of our 5th flagship that we keep on all the time, except for a change. Every time we make it, use a different hop
Right.
profile, and usually we'll change up the grain profile a little bit too.
So our goal is basically with brewing, number one, brew beer that we like, so we can share it and yes, sell it, but it's also here, we think this is really good, try it. We also are big on variety. Our goal is to have something for everyone. If you don't love everything we do, I mean, I'll be sad, but it's okay. If you don't like anything we do, maybe there's something I can do different.
Yeah, or maybe you need to go down the road and get a Busch
But,
Light.
but yeah, I feel like we really, because we get a lot of people up here who are new to craft beer. So they do come in and they say, well, what do you have that's close to Busch Light? Because that's what they know. So we'll always have a yellow, easy drinking beer on tap. And a lot of times that's the start. And that's, they'll go on from there. They'll start with the yellow mellow, and then they'll say, well, what else do you have? Well, here, what do you think of this? It's a little bit darker in color, a little bit more flavor, a little bit more buzz. Okay, that's good too. What else do you got? And we do have, like you said, we do have our regulars, and funnily enough, one of them, all he drinks is the hoppy stuff.
Yeah, he loves the hazies.
He goes after the hazies, and it's just fun to have someone that you see him walk in and you pour him a beer. You don't have to ask. It's just a thing. Boom, you're all set.
Yeah. And we've got one other regular that always goes for the yellow mellow thing. Our cream ale incidentally is our best selling beer,
Right.
which is our yellow mellow beer. But we'll usually have something else on. We just polished off a Kolsch. I think I'm gonna try to make an American adjunct lager in the near future. Just because I'm tired of people coming in and saying, "What do you got that's closest to a Busch Light?" So,
Let's know that we'll have something for them.
I might give it a real derogatory name. We'll see. She won't let me.
No, no. As far as brewing schedule, it's all over the map in winter. Right now, like we were gonna brew this weekend, but it's been a really slow week, so there's no point in brewing it just to have it sit.
Yeah.
In summer, we are brewing pretty much every week. Last summer, we did 2 back-to-back brew days, which is a lot. So in summer, we're open Wednesday through Sunday. We brewed Monday, we brewed Tuesday, and we did that twice. And
13-day week.
that was
that was brutal.
that was brutal, but you got to do it, you know.
And as far as what we're brewing on that schedule, yeah, in the winter we kind of tend to tone it down a little bit to more drinkable, popular type stuff. Well, like for instance, we love making sours. We do kettle sours, but we've kind of come to the realization that it's not worth having one on in the winter time.
That's a tourist one.
But in the summer, they fly off the shelves. So, what else do we do seasonally? We got a few beers that are strict every year. They come back at a certain time. Our ESB, we always try to have on. We always do in the spring. That was our first beer we ever made. And so we always have that one on, try to have it on for our anniversary. Plus, it's my favorite beer that we make. Jessica's favorite beer that we make
It's our fall seasonal.
it's
It's
yeah.
a cranberry ginger blonde. We're in cranberry country.
Yeah.
And a lot of our regulars are cranberry guys. They own marshes. They work on the marshes. So there's a source. And that is my favorite beer. I look forward to it all year. I've got 2 growlers of it in my beer fridge right now that I'm saving. I don't know what for, but I'm saving them. And I'm always sad to see it go. It's a labor intensive beer make, but it's so good.
And we always do an Oktoberfest. We have an old ale, a big old ale. It's the current batch is at 9.8% that we always have on. We try to do it in with snowmobile season, which usually starts like mid-December. And since we're slower in the winter, and also since it's a big beer, which kind of spooks a few people off, that one we've kind of come to figure out that we do it every other year instead. So we'll do it one year and we'll put half the batch aside, shove it in the back of the cooler and let it age for a season and then bring it back. So the one we're serving right now, which we've still got partial keg left of, was actually brewed in November of
23.
November 23. So it's got about
It is so
13
good.
more months on. Yeah, it's like butter.
It's so smooth.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good, nice
But
beer.
dangerous as hell at
Yeah.
9.8%.
And then our other our summer seasonal is a orange vanilla oatmeal cream ale. And it tastes like a dreamsicle. And that 2 years ago, we actually brewed it back to back. So it was on all summer because the first batch just went so quickly. Yeah, so that's probably our most popular summer one. And that was incidentally, that was probably the last homebrew recipe that we brought to the big system.
Yeah.
We just sort of pulled it out. We hadn't done it before, so hey, why not? And that turned out to be a really good decision because that's really nice summer beer.
It's like yeah, that reminds me of stories when musicians pull out demos from the vault.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I'm hearing y'all the community pub business model here. So my next question is, it's kind of obvious, but it's one I just have to ask. So how do y'all handle? Y'all don't distribute, right? You got to get some nerve at your brew pub. Do y'all have any crowlers or growlers or anything to go, or how do y'all handle that as a organization?
Well, we do crowlers. That's pretty much our only to go thing. We are in 3 bars in the area. And there are 3 of them that are really close by. One's right in Manitowish Waters, and the other 2 are here in Boulder Junction where we live, which is only like about 12 miles from the brewery. And we do those 3 because they're close by, so it's easy to deliver, and they all three are really nice folks that are good about promoting us. Say, hey, yeah, this is from the brewery down the street. But yeah, frankly, at the end of the day, we lose money on those kegs, but it's advertising, I guess you could view it as. But yeah, other than that, you have to come to the brewery to get the beer, and if you want to take some home, we do crowlers. We don't have room for a canning line, so we
No.
can't do anything more than that, really.
And it's kind of cool because we do fill crawlers on demand, so you can see the process right there. And
Yeah.
people get a kick out of that. Like I had one person order another crawler just so he could see the process again.
Yeah, so watch the machine with the crimping on the lid.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and then you also know as a consumer that it's fresh. So that's
Yes.
what, you know,
Yes.
other places where they can the crawlers, we don't know when they did, and then you got the
Yeah.
oxidation and all of the other things going on. So it's like, yeah, to see it done right there, that's old school too. That's not. I mean, I guess people are still doing it, but like y'all know what I mean by when I say it's old school.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
You know, for busy days like holiday weekends, we will pre-fill a few of the more popular ones. Just if we get crazy busy, it's just easier to run into the cooler and grab some. But the date of the fill is right on there, and it's usually the day of just before we open.
Yeah. And that's only, Labor Day and
And
Memorial
Memorial,
Day,
yeah.
4th of July, pretty much. That's about the only times the only times we get that busy that it's too hard for us to fill a crawler on demand.
Yeah, so it sounds like the distribution question leads me to, it sounds like and y'all can speak to this, your these one of the things that breweries are really concerned about now is this unfortunately idea of a tariff on aluminum and stuff like that, so that affects breweries who are dependent on cans, that their bottom line might go up, and then ultimately where that goes to the consumer. It sounds like y'all are minimally possibly affected by this.
Probably will be, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see more in the summertime. I mean, when we buy cans, like the load of cans we've got right now, we bought them in November. That'll probably last us through the whole winter. But once summer rolls around, we're going to go through cans a lot faster and have to order probably every 6 to 8 weeks. So I guess we'll find out more about it in the summertime. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going to assume it's going to, even with the tariff, it's probably not going to add that much cost on them. Frankly, what kills us more than anything else is the shipping on these things. Because we don't have the space to buy a pallet full of empty cans. We don't have the space to store them. So I have to buy them in boxes of there's like 4 cases of 90 some. They come UPS or FedEx, and it's the shipping of those things that are killing us. It pretty much doubles the cost of the cans. Last year we took a vacation to Michigan and went to Grand Rapids, and that's where we get the cans from. So we picked them up while we were there just to save ourselves like $150 in shipping costs. And we got to go to breweries in Grand Rapids.
I was gonna say that's what they call a business and pleasure trip for sure.
Absolutely.
R&D.
So that leads me. This is a good really segue into what are some of the biggest challenges that y'all face running a brewery in northern Wisconsin. Obviously, the seasonality of it is I would say a challenge, but that's a challenge. Y'all, that was something that it seemed like y'all knew going in and actually embracing. And actually, it almost feels like a feature. So I can't really call that a challenge for you, but maybe there's challenges within that feature. But yeah, what are some of y'all's challenges? Because we end up here on Badger Beer. Badger Beer Report. Sorry, we talk to many breweries. I'm from Madison, and 2 of our guys are based in Milwaukee, and a lot of our brewery news comes out of those places, obviously, because they got a high concentration of breweries. So we don't really hear much from the northern brewery. So I'm interested in y'all's answer here.
I don't know. No, it's this is our retirement gig, so we're pretty laid back about our whole philosophy and what how we run the place. I guess a challenge is that we only do beer, and we don't offer like gluten-free options. We can't do ciders or wines, so that can be a challenge, because you do get customers who have gluten issues or who just don't like beer, and they're not going to try it. So it's beer or soda.
Yeah.
That being said, we like making beer. We think we're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't
It's
want to make
fun.
a seltzer. I never have.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell wine. I don't know anything about it. I know a lot about the beer we make. And I guess another just logistical challenge, I guess, would be just the brewing schedule. We don't have a set schedule. So trying to figure out, and we have a good handle on it after this time, but it's just, sometimes trying to figure out when to brew. Like I said, we were going to brew this weekend, but decided not to.
Oddly enough, actually, that's one of the parts I really enjoy is figuring out what to make and when to make it. And I like making it more than I like selling it. So yeah, I guess the only challenge I can think of is just avoiding burnout because I'm getting pretty goddamn old here. So, and
Mhm.
some days, I'm starting to think it's time to ride off into the sunset. But then like I said, I still enjoy making it. So
I like a little bit more predictability with my work schedule, but whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like someone who enjoys the chaos a little bit more than the other. That's really what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, a little bit.
I bet, yeah.
Or even thrives for that. But again, real quick, how old is Some Nerve?
We'll be 7 years old and this coming
Oh.
June.
So like from day one, I mean, it was never the goal was never to build a dynasty.
Yeah.
I love New Glarus. I don't want to be New Glarus. They're way too busy.
Yeah.
More
money, more problems.
So, we both came from other stressful careers, other stressful jobs. We like making beer. We like serving it in our teeny tiny little place. And we love having new people in. This is good. We're making good beer. We're having a good time. We're keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
Those are our boxes that we needed to check.
Yep. We're not looking to get rich off of it because nobody's going to get rich off of this unless you got to be really lucky. You got to have well backwards into Christmas to like
in the
New Glarus
last-
did it because they had perfect timing and well also because they make some of the greatest beer in the country too. That helps, but they had a lot of things fall into place. They're like the Beatles of beer. It's just everything happened right.
Also made some very good business decisions along the way too. So there's there's a whole bunch of things going on with them. And same with Lakefront for that matter. In my personal opinion, you almost all our successful ones you can kind of look back and be like, wow, y'all, without I think I mentioned them, but they need to be mentioned in the same category. In my personal opinion is Central Waters. And just the strategery and the timing though. The timing is so key.
Yes.
And they would all speak to the timing of it. And because again, this environment now we're in with generally craft beer is just rough. So and shout out to all those brewers owners. Y'all probably know more of them than me, given your travels and also given I'm adjacent to the industry, y'all are in the industry. So I guess I'm kind of in, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Couple things, and I will let y'all go unless y'all have something. But one of the things that I've talked to a few people that unfortunately have not been to your tap room. So I'm going to ask for a personal. When y'all know the ending of Some Nerve is coming, I'm going to ask for a personal invite or whenever that knows. It'll be off the record. Y'all tell me so I can get my butt up there because there's a reason why. Just because I'm friends with y'all. So we were friends before any of this, for the record, and disclaimer for the whole podcast thing. But also though, I've never been up there, and there's a reason why I should attend. And so this question is part of it. What kind of atmosphere do y'all aim to create in your tap room? Because I've talked to a couple people who've been there, and they say that it's unique as AF. They really like the environment. That when you walk in, it's just a different vibe. So I want y'all to talk about. I want y'all to talk about that, and I also want y'all to talk about why I should have my butt up there before any of this.
Well, what do you do tomorrow?
Yeah, come on up anytime. Anytime you are absolutely welcome. So get up here.
But atmosphere, we're shooting for warm, fuzzy. We want it to feel like a friendly little neighborhood pub, minus all the things that make a bar kind of rowdy and silly. So it's I don't know.
There's no TVs. There's no gambling machines. We don't do shake a day. And don't get me wrong, those are fun. Packer games in a bar are amazing. But for us, it's a very, we want people to talk. And it's what I love. I love listening to customers sitting at the bar. They'll start talking to each other. They'll make connections that they didn't know were there. I mean, one couple started talking to another couple, and the two women figured out they were related by marriage. I mean, wow.
That happens, stuff like that
That happens a
often.
lot.
Yeah, people that know each other.
Yeah.
And we one thing we didn't do, if when you come up north, most places you go in, usually there's a lot of animals hanging on the wall, fish and deer heads and stuff like that, and a lot of up north stuff, whatever. And not that there's anything wrong with that. What's that?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And not that we have anything against that, but we kind of made a conscious choice that we're not going to do that because it's, I don't know, maybe a little cliched, but we just, although the color scheme on the inside of the tap room is green, so that helps. And and the other thing that's a big part of our ambiance is that we are, like I said, out kind of in the woods, and we have a great big picture window behind the bar that looks, and we have an acre and a half on our lot, so you can look right out our picture window and you're looking into the woods of northern Wisconsin. And then we have a bunch of bird feeders hanging right outside the window, so you could sit and watch the critters while you're drinking your beer. So it's relaxed and warm and fuzzy is what we were going for. We want a place where people could just sit and enjoy a beer and chill the fuck out. So
yeah, and pretty much like the deer come in almost every day, and that never gets old. We have had bears in our backyard. They're not invited.
yeah, as cool as it is to see them, I can't have my customers out in the beer garden getting eaten. So that's bad for business.
Right.
Wait, so we have a northern Wisconsin safari right out your window. That's what I'm hearing.
Basically,
yeah.
Just yesterday we had a pileated woodpecker on one of our feeders right outside the windows. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those. They're about the size of a pterodactyl. It's this humongous woodpecker about a foot and a half long, and these big pointy heads, and there's coolest looking things. Yeah, but you don't want one if you have a wooden house because they will destroy it. They'll eat your house.
You also have a little bit of a southern Wisconsin safari inside with a picture of yours truly.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yep, it's our connection to the south.
Y'all motherfuckers need beer.
So that's why I've needed to come up to their brewery, y'all, is because I am featured in there. That's the only brewery in the world that I am featured in, y'all. So, what am I
we need
doing?
an autograph on that picture.
Yes.
Right. What am I doing? Right. And then I can come up and take a picture, and we can have before. You know how they're doing it before and after, or you see them now, like it started like this and it ended.
Yeah. How it started, how it's going.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna try my best to get up there this year. I'm putting myself on record in 2025. I need to get my butt to Some Nerve Brewery, and Manitowish Waters, Wisconsin. Which leads me to my last question, unless y'all have something else that I missed, or that we should talk about Some Nerve is, what are y'all general future plans of Some Nerve? Kind of heard a little bit of insight into, y'all's, brewing schedule and just Bill's general, like, hey man, I'm getting old for this. And I think a lot of people see the glamour side of the brewing respectfully, which is the drinking and the cool recipes, and like what Jessica was just talking about, the connections that people make in breweries. I love to say, I think I told y'all, I meet the best people in breweries, and that's just the truth, and it's just fun. I don't necessarily meet the best people in bars. So again, another another slight little difference between the two, but what are the future plans for Some Nerve Brewery? I don't see it growing at all. I see it it's where y'all want it to be, which is fabulous and interesting. Or y'all, I'll shut up and y'all can answer that question.
Sure.
I mean, we like what we do, as long as we like what we do and we're still physically able to do it. And by we, I mean Bill, because I cannot lift 160-pound kegs. But as long as we can physically keep doing it and we like it, we'll keep doing it. That being said, there's a lot of stuff that we would like to do that we would like to have more time for. going for hikes, bicycle rides, fishing, all that stuff that we moved up here for.
Yeah, you move up north, you start working. You don't. Everyone moves up north to go fishing, and
You don't
once you
fish.
come move up here, unless you move up when you're retired, you don't go fishing because you don't
You
have
don't have
time.
Right. So
Mhm.
we sort of talk about retirement, but it's not anything that we're taking active steps toward yet. If someone wants to buy a brewery and take it over, hey,
Yeah, just
hit me up.
Yeah.
But,
give me some numbers.
yeah, but it really no definite plans in that regard yet.
Yeah, it's kind of status quo for the foreseeable future. We've kind of, like I said, we've kind of figured out the pattern and the seasonal flow and what's working and what isn't working. So
It's comfortable.
beyond that, I mean, and as far as beer wise, we're pretty much the only thing we haven't really ever done is we've never done any kind of barrel aged stuff. And I don't know, one of these days we'll probably get a bug up our butt to do a barrel aged beer. But we have a good friend who used to be the head brewer at East Troy Brewing. He did some fantastic barrel aged stuff. So he was going to be our mentor on that, and I was going to have him walk us through the process. Well, unfortunately, he quit. And
Moved to Tennessee.
yeah, so he's no longer going to help us with that unless we do it via Zoom or something. But
Mhm.
someday we might try that out. But other than that, we've pretty much run out of basic classic styles and other oddball things to do other than just different flavors of sours and things like that. So it does get harder to find new things to make. I think we've made somewhere in the vicinity of 55 different beers now since we've been open, and we like to always do new things, but we're running out of new things to do. So we'll see. We're just winging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, y'all are, given y'all seasonal nature, what comes to mind and for places like I feel that y'all are just memories. When people come to visit, or it seems like when people come, when people go north here in Wisconsin, y'all, people in Wisconsin understand it, but maybe people who are in Wisconsin don't. There's a mindset of vacation and family and trying to get away and all that. And places like Sumner Brewing, in my opinion, help create those memories. It's a pocket of time where you're up fishing, you're up hunting, you meet your friend at the Some Nerve. It almost becomes a thing where, every year I have to dip into Some Nerve to see what's going on with Bell, what's going on. Do they have that same beer that they had last year? I
Yeah,
enjoy something. Maybe I want to try something different. These people, and you know what I mean? So like
we get a lot of that.
yeah, that's just that's just a great aspect of it, and that's I think where y'all's lane is, and I think y'all understand that, and I think that's it's just fun and it's interesting, and it's just a different business angle or business you know the way to handle business, and with 230 different breweries, we have 230 different ways that it's being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's exciting and fun, y'all. And we still, we lost 11 last year. RIP to them, and all the, all the, really, the thing that really gets me when breweries close is not really, it's really, the loss of, employment, and those people
Sure.
having to find. And it's not always easy for people who enjoy working in this industry to find, just find other jobs on the, their,
Sure.
Yeah. Tightening up here. So my last thing for y'all is this: I just want to let's get all the details about Sumner Brewing out. We know that it's in Manitowish, Wisconsin, Manitowish Waters, Wisconsin, which is about 20 minutes north of Minocqua, Wisconsin. So it's out there, y'all. Y'all are generally a seasonal brewery, but open year round, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We usually will take a week off in November, so we'll probably take a week off in April. So you kind of watch Facebook for that stuff, and then we'll take the occasional mental health day where we just say, "Screw it, let's close up for the day and go get drunk." But
that's cool. But so please talk about the difference between the hours in winter and then the hours in summer.
So in summer, we're open, the tap room's open Wednesday through Friday from 3 to 9, and Saturdays 1 to 9, and then Sundays 1 to 7.
Yeah.
And so that's Memorial to Labor Day. And then in the winter, in the fall and winter season, we're just not open on Sundays, but the regular hours stay the same.
Okay. Wait.
And
I
always
didn't hear,
closed Monday and Tuesday.
I didn't hear Saturday, did I? I heard
Yep,
Saturday.
Saturdays
Sat-
are 1 to 9.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, Saturday. Wait, what is that? Yeah. So
Much as I'd love
so
to have my
there's a
Saturdays
seasonal
off.
flex there. There's a seasonal flex there for sure, right?
Yeah, very
Yep.
much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then y'all can be found on all the social medias or just the
Um,
main ones.
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook
We
and
do have a
IG.
regular
Okay.
website, sumnerbrewing.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And don't count on Instagram too much because we don't
Well,
understand it
anything
real
we,
well.
anything we post on Facebook, will get posted on Instagram.
Mhm.
Best way to contact us is really going to be through Facebook Messenger, or you
Or
can
text message or-
text or email or
Yeah.
whatever.
Don't
Okay.
call, we won't answer.
All right. Yeah. Well, same here. But
I
yeah.
hate to.
But for the day-to-day things, or for quick, hey, we ain't doing it today. That's Facebook though. So right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Any
Okay.
special events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So all right, y'all. Any last word here before we go? I would like to have y'all back to talk just random brewery current event things. There's just so much going on, whether it be Line and Google's Monaco
man.
Brewery and the tariffs. I mean, there's just so
Yeah.
much going on. So it will be fun to have a roundtable discussion with y'all about that. But I wanted to keep it to some nerve because I don't think many people know about y'all. So
Sure.
more people need to know about y'all, especially down here in Madison and with
Oh, yeah.
in Milwaukee, and also because again, most of us go up north at some point. So especially in the summer. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage people to come up this way. Yeah, obviously, most people know it's a beautiful place to visit, the North Woods, for a lot of reasons, but also it's becoming a nice little beer destination because we've got us. There's two breweries in Eagle River, Tribute and
Riverstone.
Riverstone. There's one in Monaco, well, technically in Woodruff, called Rocky Reef, which is a fantastic brewery. Who am I forgetting?
Well, there's one coming to Boulder Junction. They're hoping to be open this spring.
Boulder
Um,
Junction Brewing will be the name of that
They're
one.
building
Rhinelander
through
Brewing
the winter.
Company.
They're building
What's
through
that?
the winter. Yeah, they're building through the winter. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They it's moving along. Actually, they're good friends of ours, and we're looking forward to having them open because there'll be someplace else we can go. But they're moving along pretty nice. They were just in our place last night visiting with us, and we've been encouraging them a lot and really hoping to see them open soon because they're gonna do some great stuff. It's a couple from they just moved here from Virginia. Tracy and Ian. Tracy was the head brewer of the brewery out there in Reston, Virginia.
Reston. Yep, Lake End Brewing.
And so she's going to be the head brewer. They get a lot of the people, if they do an event talking about their place coming up, people come up to Ian and say, "So, what kind of brewery system do you have?" And he's like, "I don't know. That's the brewery." Pointed at her. So still up in here in the area where it's a little bit on hard for people to grasp the idea of women actually brewing. Yeah, but it happens, folks. They can do it too.
So y'all are building a little bit of a brewery hub up in northern Wisconsin. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
it's a nice one too. I mean, lots of fantastic breweries up here. And then if you branch out a little further, there's a couple up in the UP. We're only like 40 minutes from the UP, and there's a couple up there not far from us. And you get up towards Ashland and Bayfield, there's some up that way, and you can hit some nice breweries around this area. I feel like I forgot someone. Did I forget? Anyway,
Yeah,
but yeah,
Door County gets all the northern Wisconsin love, but that's that's east. So
yeah,
we're
that's not
talking really
northern.
further west. Yeah, we're talking further west, and then when you get up really north, or then you start to talk, Superior and Duluth, start to get
Yeah.
all that, that, and well deserved praise, well
yeah.
deserved. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's a gap in that middle there where people miss, if that makes sense, and it's y'all.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was fun to highlight that, and hopefully the word gets out a little bit more with this podcast. I wanted to thank Bill and Jessica Ruth for
Thank you.
their friendship, but also coming on here and talking to them about some of their brewing and all the things that happen up there up north that we don't hear enough about.
Thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Thank y'all, and we will see y'all next time on the Badger Beer Brewery.